the well,
That's the sound you get when you turn up to a Bastard Assignments workshop with very few ideas. Yeah, we've had this workshop week in the diary for quite some time now, and I just really struggled to produce anything for it, but I didn't want to turn up empty-handed. And the last episode, and maybe the one before as well, if you've been watching these, you'll know that I've been playing around with the idea of text intelligibility, or lack thereof, and ideas of sort of little moments of clarity coming up through things. I've also been thinking quite a lot about how to draw the work I do in my notebooks into the pieces that I make, and ways that that might be accomplished. And so I decided to try something we haven't actually tried before, which was to use pages out of the notebooks as graphic scores, and do some improvisation around that. Yeah, so we did several goes at this using several different spreads. We had an awful lot of fun. Some of them went in really strange directions. Completely different kind of approaches to most of them. It was sort of like all over the place. And they were very mixed results, but I think there have been some really good moments for me to pursue into a piece. So we were working with a mix of voices and instruments. I had my viola, Josh brought his alto saxophone, Tim had his bass guitar, and for Edward I brought this, which is my Seaboard block. As you can see, it's a keyboard, but it's spongy, and so you can actually slide up and down the pitches and make glissandi between notes and do all sorts of crazy things with it. My partner gave it to me for my birthday back in March, and I haven't actually had a chance to really play with it, so this seemed like a good chance to just experiment and see what might happen with it. And as it happens, it's actually found its way into Edward's piece that we were workshopping over the course of the week, and it's now cemented in there, and it's going to Oslo in February. So that was good. So yeah, we took a sort of a variety of approaches to the notebook pages. So we were sort of mixing up the voices and the instruments, everything from 4 voices to 4 instruments and pretty much every combination in between. There were attempts to read, or rather misread, the overwritten text.
Sing.
Which was, I quite liked actually, because sometimes, you know, when the words coincide and you feel you can read it, and it might be something that clearly it never was to start with, or maybe it was the word it was, but there's this sort of element of translation and miscommunication going on there that I'm quite interested in at the moment, and I was really enjoying that. There were some fairly straightforward following lines of the drawings.
Pie.
And for the pages that were created over the top of, I've been using a Haydn score as one of my altered books. There were moments where visible fragments of notation got pulled in to this and became part of the piece, which was very pleasing actually, really unexpected, gave something to bounce off, which was nice. I also took along a tiny fragment of very rough and peculiarly angled video that I shot in a noisy cafe in South Kensington a little while ago, which is just of me writing in the books, but we used it to sort of structure some work with voices and sort of layering up, and we sort of played around with the volume, so first it's low volume and then it's sort of increasing in volume, and then everything cutting out when the hand blocks the view.
Mr. Bumpleton snarled and gnarled. He moved and moved.
La 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 la.
I feel this is kind of going towards a video score, but I think it probably wouldn't be a video score to perform from. It would be more a way of structuring the piece and learning it, and then we'd find a way of dealing with sorting out durations or just winging it for the performance. Because the problem with video scores is that then you end up staring intently at the video score, and there's often very little engagement with the audience because you're watching for the next thing to come along. And all of this has a working title, courtesy of Josh. So this is Haydn's Space Opera, due to be premiered in June. So goodness only knows what title it's going to end up with, but at least it's called something for now. Yes. You may remember a few months ago I was talking about a piece for Zubin Kanga, and that sort of had a brief moment. We went and did a workshop with him, and then nothing happened. Well, I went to his gig at King's Place last week, week before, recently, and that was great. I really enjoyed it, and it sparked some ideas. And then I was putting on my socks to go and be brutalised by my sports therapist for my viola RSI, and I had this idea that I suddenly had to get down urgently. Zubin's in a box, and I'm pottering around the studio. I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I'm thinking about the piece, maybe I'm trying to not think about the piece, maybe it's just, I don't know, that needs to be determined. He's playing the piano properly, like notes and stuff. I don't know, is it annoying me? Not sure. Anyway, video me comes over and kind of presses him down into the box, maybe closes the box. Anyway, he has to, pushing him down pushes him under the piano, and he has to find a way to try to continue the piece from under the piano. So since then I've thought that maybe it doesn't have a video part after all. One of the things we did during the Bastards Development Week was we spent a day with a theatre director, and we were doing quite a lot of work with backstories, especially for Josh's piece Trolling, and working with the idea of how knowing the backstory then changes how you approach a certain action and can give it more direction, more shape. So I'm sort of thinking that this could be backstory, the whole me pushing him under the piano business. I quite liked the idea of him going under the piano way back when we had that first workshop, and I was really stuck on why he was going under the piano, and what was the purpose of it, and was it just to find new sounds, or was it a private space, and which had been the sort of the starting point for it, but just felt kind of weak. I think this is odd, this new development, but I think it's actually much stronger, because I think the idea of being pushed under will give a certain shape to his movement and a certain emotion to him being under there, and sort of why he's not coming out or how he comes out. Yeah, so I need to do more work on that before we meet up with him in January. So that's on the Christmas list, that one. So the week before last, I'm never quite sure where I am these days. I was in Antwerp with Josh giving a presentation at a conference on collaboration, and both Amy of Britten Variations fame and Jenny Hogan of Impedimenta fame were there, along with loads of other lovely, lovely people. It was a great big party conference, really. It was a whole lot of fun. So I got to spend some good time with both of them. The Britten Variations has stalled a little bit. Amy's been a bit unwell, and so we haven't been able to follow up on that, but we had some good conversations about the piece while we were there and sort of ways to proceed, and we've also set up a date in January to do some more work on that, and so hopefully they'll get it much closer to being finished, and I'm hoping to have that all done before the end of January. We have been having problems finding an amp, because we've been rehearsing at the Royal Academy of Music where Amy's doing her PhD, but apparently they don't have amps unless you do jazz, which is weird. So we're still trying to work out what we're going to do here. We may end up having to just hire something. Yeah, but we're investigating, and yeah, maybe we can borrow something. Who knows? Who knows? We'll work it all out before January. So Jenny's piece is, we've got a workshop planned for next week where we're going to start tying things to her stunt flute. So mostly I've just been chucking ideas at her. We've got this blog that we're keeping for this, where we can both chuck ideas in and respond to the other person's ideas and sort of keep things ticking along, but keep it documented all the way through, because this is for her PhD. I kind of went through a phase where everywhere I looked on Instagram, things were suspended. So I made a post that's a whole lot of collections of people's Instagram posts of suspended things. A little while back, I also sent her a link to make sure that she was aware of Stellark's suspension work, to which her response was, ew! And I have to say I don't blame her for that. But I think it's really important that she knows about that. And we've discussed sort of whys and wherefores of that a little bit. But in preparing the paper for the conference, I went back over some of the early materials of Dot Drip Line 8918 Edge, and in particular those early improvisations where I was trying to describe the trajectory of a fall with my body, so kind of and how that then changed to being actually, I don't need to describe the trajectory, I'm the thing that is falling, and what is the difference then in movement and wind rushing past you. It's a very different kind of shape, it's a lot stronger. And I've been thinking then about what if we took that approach to Jenny herself, and if we thought about Jenny as being the thing that is suspended. How does that then change how she moves, how she interacts with the flute, how she breathes? Definitely not putting hooks through her skin, though. Not even thinking of it, because yes, ew. So that's about it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. As always, if you've got any comments or questions, please leave them below. And I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks. Bye.